welcome to the Woman Within You podcast. Thank you so much for joining. I have a special guest with me. It's my girlfriend.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm well, and you?
She has been on the podcast before, and I'm so glad to have her back. You know, we just kind of chat. You know, I have to be honest with you. So, I've known Ayana for many years, but I didn't really know her. Right? I knew her. She was cool. She was happy. But, I didn't really know her. And now that I really know her, this is my ace right here. She's a real one, okay?
Oh, my God. So are you.
But some of the things that, you go through in life, you need somebody who is going to be like, wait a minute, hold up. Let me pull up. What can I do? Is there anything I can do? I'm right here for you, sis. Do you need to talk?
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
Or, wait a minute, do I need to get down on you? What you talking about? We not having that.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs that in their life. And for me, that's what I've been missing. I've been missing that all my life. It's I've always been a person to give. And kind of get nothing back in return. And I'm not saying that you give to get back something in return. But it's just knowing that if you having a moment, you could be like, hey, wait a minute, sis. This is what's going on. What can I do? Or, even that person knowing your energy so much that you don't even have to say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They just know something ain't right.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you need a pep talk.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And I feel the same way about you, little sis. I do.
And it's funny because I was reading, I was actually not reading, but I was scrolling on my Instagram timeline, and I saw a meme that said, when you have a healing spirit, you naturally attract damaged people, and that you can't allow them to drain you, because you have a healing spirit. Now, I didn't know I had a healing spirit.
I did.
Oh.
I did. Absolutely. Of course, most empaths, people who pour into others, that's what they're doing. You're healing them, you're checking in, you're checking up. You're in tune with, like you say, you can kind of get the vibe if you run into them and they're just not on, 10 like they usually are, and you can catch that vibe. Most people won't catch it. But when you are close to certain people, or just you're standing in the grocery store and you smile at someone and it's taking them a while to smile back, you can kind of figure that their mind is somewhere else. Mm-hmm. That's how people like us are. And it's a gift and a curse, but no good deed goes unpunished.
Wait a minute. I'm waiting for listen, it's more of a curse than a gift in my opinion.
It is a balancing act.
It definitely is. I know I could be in Target, and my kids always say that I bait people to talk to me. And so I'm I did a little experiment, and I said, I don't do anything, and people they kind of just come to me, and they tell me their life story, or they just want to chit-chat, or I just smile, and they, it kind of makes them feel a little bit more welcome. My kid's like, no, Mom, you'll ask a question out loud, and that just invites people to talk to you. And I'm like, I've always been that way, Mm-hmm. It's not something that I do purposely. It's not something it's not like I want them to talk to me, because most of the time, if I'm by myself, I don't want anyone to talk to me, because that's my time, especially in Target.
Come on.
That is my therapy right there.
Come on, therapy. We love us some Target. Absolutely.
But, I tend not to give advice, but I try to listen more. And I think that for me, listening more has helped me as a person, because when I'm going through something, I want someone to listen to me, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes I don't want them to give me advice. I just want you to listen. And I just want to know that I have somebody that is there for me, and somebody who, girl, it's going to be all right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It may not be all right in my eyes right now in this moment, but girl, it's going to be all right.
Exactly. Sometimes you need somebody in your life to just give you the chin up. Ooh,
I like that.
Someone that's just gonna, you don't necessarily need him or her to give you, a gem in that moment. Because sometimes you just want to sit in it real quick. But they give you the chin up, sis. And it sometimes can just come from a quick text message. You know what I mean? You were sitting on my spirit, you know what I mean? Or you ran across my mind. And people come out because you're giving them a little nugget to pull on, and maybe they'll share, maybe they don't, but you've given them that little chin up. It's gonna be all right, whatever is going on. You don't have to share, but I noticed something was a little off, but you know it's gonna be all right.
I think that's important. I think that sometimes us as Black women, especially successful Black women, and I'm gonna call myself successful, and I'm gonna call you successful as well. Like, I feel like there's always like this push and pull. It's like we want to empower each other. We want everybody to win, but do we really want everybody to win?
Right.
Exactly. Are you going to lend your hand to me if I ask you for help? Because I have to be honest with you. If someone asks me for help, I'm always like, okay, no problem. I'll do it. Yay. Sure. Great. But that is not reciprocated.
No.
And it's always shocking to me because I'm just like, why would you not help me?
I know the reciprocal love that we're looking for as especially Black women. I think it comes from a place when people are unable to give you all that they're given, comes from all types of things. And it can also come back from what you originally said about toxic situations and relationships. Even though you and I aren't a male and female situation, we are what we share is a relationship.
Yep.
And it needs to be reciprocated, give and take. Is that happening with sister friends and sisterhood? Absolutely not, to your point. But what you have to realize is if people are unable to reciprocate the love that you're giving them, something else is going on there that has nothing to do with you. And I had to learn that. I really had to learn that.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is. I'm choking sometimes.
How do you handle it? Because I'm going to tell you something. For me, I want to communicate. I want to talk about it. I want to say, hey, this is how I feel. But what I have found is when I try to communicate that, they exit stage left. And it's not to talk bad or about anyone or anything like that. I don't mean that. I just mean that when I finally, because you know what, it takes a build-up for me to get the courage to even say how I feel about certain scenarios. So when that build-up happens and I say, you know what, I don't like this. You hurt my feelings. You know, I feel like you're not there for me. I feel like, you know, I'm doing this by myself and you're supposed to be my right hand or something along those lines. They exit stage left.
And when that happens, in my opinion, in my past situations where that has happened with any relationship, once you name it and if it's not well received and if they do exit stage left, good riddance. What we need to stop doing is chasing relationships that are not they're not pouring into you as much as you're pouring into them. That means it's a one-sided relationship, and that becomes toxic because you're not getting what you need from the relationship. And if they're exiting stage left because you are speaking your truth with your I statements, then that means that they weren't in your camp from the beginning. There's something else going on there. And again, tough pill to swallow. I had to learn this in my life as well. As soon as I would name it or say how I feel, if it's a combative situation that you're getting back from this person in return, then that's when you know that's a red flag. That's a huge red flag.
I feel like I don't know the difference between what's real love and what's fake love. I feel like sometimes, and I could say this is true for romantic relationships, family relationships, platonic friendships, that I feel like knowing what's real and what's not, because say what you want, everyone say, oh, blood is thicker than water. I don't believe that. And the reason why is because I feel like sometimes even your family can be toxic.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have to pull away from them as well, because you may have done nothing to anyone, but yet you're the butt of everyone's jokes. Or you're the topic of conversation at family dinners or behind someone's back. And then you're coming to a family dinner, you know, being yourself, being the same, and, you know, being snickered at because of the conversations that happen around you that you weren't privy to.
Absolutely. I think in families especially, I'm hearing this as of late, people who are kikiing with you or are always at the table with you or always around or, whatever the case, they're not always here for your success. They're not always here. Yeah, they're not always here for, if you're sitting in a happy place, you know what? This is the real true testament to any relationship, whatever, a family, platonic, or actual relationship with a partner or whatever. Be happy and see how people react. Be genuinely happy and see the reactions of people. Are they happy for you or do they ghost? I find oftentimes people are doing, if you're not doing well, people are around you. They come around and they want to be around you. If you're doing absolutely wonderfully, I mean, if you're thriving and and you're doing well and you're being blessed, people act funny sometimes, and that is another telltale sign that they're not for you. They're not for you.
I think I was reading an article on Exo Nicole that talked about, and I love that website. And this is not a sponsored ad or anything. Mm-hmm. Hey, Nicole!
Hey, Nicole! I love it too.
Me too. Because it's like, it's so real. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all the things that we want to talk about, but we don't talk about, kind of like this podcast. Yes. It's like, it's those taboo topics or those things that are just kind of like left unsaid, but like you're probably thinking it. Yeah. And then you're wondering if the next sis is thinking it too.
Absolutely.
Right? And chances are they are. Absolutely. Anywho. The article I was reading is about dating relationships with toxic family members. And so on first glance, I said, I would never want to not have a relationship with a family member. Yeah. But as I read the article and I thought about my own life, I realized that sometimes you have to distance yourself to keep yourself in a good place. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes the peace that you have, people envy.
That's a word. Yes, yes. They're envying your peace. They're envying your happiness. They're envying your success, whatever. They're envying how you dealt with crazy. I saw a meme one time. It said, you'd be surprised by people who are so jealous about your little life. So people are watching you and they're surprised, that, you're successful, or they're not surprised, but they're envious of, people being attached to you or whatever the case may be.
Maybe it's because we came from the same place and maybe you haven't graduated from that place and I have graduated, and it's just like, well, what did I do wrong versus what she did wrong to get out of that same place? I really truly believe that, and that's biblical, actually. Okay? I don't know the scripture. I'm not about to quote the Bible. I'm gonna have to find out for y'all and post it, but that is actually biblical. And the more I think about it, and the more I think about some events that have happened in my life that hurt my core, because I couldn't understand why certain things were happening to me and why certain things were being said about me. And I know we should not care what people think about you, but let's keep it all the way real. We are human beings.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And if someone says to you, you a hoe, you're going to feel some type of way.
Absolutely.
Right? Even though you may not be. And sometimes for me, I internalize a lot of things, and it's because I know I'm an empath, and I know that I take on the emotions of others, because all I kept thinking was, well, why aren't they supportive of me? Or why would they say that about me? And it's not true.
It isn't true. And unfortunately, when people have nothing to do besides change the court of public opinion, it's going to take a lot to do that, though, but people try it. They really, really do, unfortunately. But I have noticed recently that the best thing you can do is keep silent and keep doing what you're doing, because the proof is in the pudding. Somebody who's talking and somebody who's doing, people will realize over time, and it doesn't take people long at all to realize if someone's talking mess about someone that for a fact isn't that way, who are you going to believe? The person, the sister that you have a relationship with, or you're going to believe that some whoever that's speaking ill about you. And another thing, get you some people around you that aren't going to stand for it, because the people who, who carry bones and carrying on, it's not just the person that's carrying the bone. Whoever they're carrying the bone to is collecting them. So we don't want to, surround ourselves with people who are bone collectors. We don't need that. So once you realize somebody's toxic and they're talking to, XYZ about you, make sure XYZ isn't carrying the bones as well, because it does become a domino effect if you're not careful.
And then it's like, why was that person so comfortable coming to you with the information? Absolutely. And why did you listen? Because I know for me, I'm like, I don't want to hear no gossip. Like, I am way too old for that. We did that in high school. We gossiped. We did this. Maybe even in our 20s. Yeah. But, like, for me, I'm all about positivity. I know that over the last couple of years, I have grown as a person.
Same.
I know that all I want to be surrounded by is people that are uplifting, people that, love family, people that love themselves, and that manifests in their relationships. Absolutely. And all I know is that all I want is inner peace. That's all I want. And so you talking about people to me, you gossiping to people, it's not part of my peaceful plan.
Exactly. And so send that, back to Messenger. And sometimes you can do it in such a cute way that they get it, and you can just end the conversation right there. Sis, not today. You can do one of those if it's at work. Girl, I'm so busy, I ain't even notice. Just hit them back with something like that, if you don't want to get involved. But you're absolutely right. If we're looking for inner peace, and, for your listeners, if you're looking for inner peace and you want to make sure that, you're blocking the bad stuff going on, make sure you're not a bone collector too, because we've all been guilty of someone carrying a bone to you, and you just can't help but to move that bone to the next cubicle, to share. And if you can just dead that trash right there, that's the best thing you can do. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to talk, get a journal.
Right. Come on, journal.
I got several of them.
Listen. They're so cute. You get you to Marshalls, and again, not a sponsor, but you get you to Marshalls, so cute and cheap, and get that right on down in there. And if people keep bringing you mess, then you can be a little stronger with your, with your response. But absolutely, make it so that people don't even feel comfortable talking about you or talking to you about anybody else.
You know what? While we're on that subject, I was thinking about something as you were talking, and I have a problem saying no.
Yeah. Saying no. So I've taught this, time management and things like that. And I have a whole segment on no being a full sentence. And I've said this to Patrice. I've shared this with new moms, a lot of my mentees that are just getting out of college and they want to get involved. So if people see a worker bee, they're going to add as many things on your plate as they possibly can, because they know you're going to get things done. And Patrice is no stranger to that subject, neither am I. But no is a full sentence. And you can get fancy with it and say, no, that actually won't work. Let me check my schedule up. Not that weekend, sis. But we can go on ahead and just say, no, I'm unable to do that. And not give excuses, not give song and dance of why not. Because,
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, because you're listing every appointment. You're listing all things you did. I got to go to church. I got to do this. At the end of the day, you owe no one your time. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. You owe no one your time. Absolutely not. Especially if you're not being paid to do it. This is beyond your job, that you're being paid to do. But even on the job, sometimes folks will add to your plate. That is, these are elective situations. And in this season, time is still 24 hours a day. Everybody has the same amount of time in the day. And what we don't want to do is add more things to our plate. So we're overwhelmed, we're stressed out, anxiety sets in, and we can't even have, time with our children and significant others without falling asleep in the movie. So come on now, listen, you're overextending yourself. So that's a word right there. And we could talk a whole nother half hour about saying no.
It's true. I wish I wasn't an empath.
Right.
Like, I wish I would. Like, what's the other extreme? Like, what's the other side? What is it?
A meanie? I don't know. I don't know what the technical term
Get
is.
a happy medium?
Yes, exactly. We got to balance this thing out, you and I.
It's a balancing act. I'll tell you that
It
much.
is.
I don't know. I as much as I say, okay, my New Year's resolution, my monthly goal, my daily goal, my hourly goal is to have inner peace.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have consistently sacrificed my inner peace for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has been the biggest lesson that I have learned over the past year, is that I gotta put me first.
Woo! That's a word. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I could go on and on about that. Yes. Putting yourself first. Yes.
And it doesn't mean that I have to be mean to people.
No.
It doesn't mean that I can't be there for people. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good mother.
Right.
It doesn't mean I'm not a good wife. It doesn't mean I'm not a good employee.
Right.
But I can't be any of those things if I am not healthy.
Oh my goodness.
And on those days, because there's been a lot of them over the past years where I feel like I am breaking to my core because I can't take it. The dishes are dirty. Mm-hmm. The kids got to run to 5 million places at the same time. I got open house here, open house there. It's the same time, right? My job, I have a deadline. I got to drive to Bridgeport to make the deadline. Like,
yeah.
When is it too much? Especially as like mothers, as wives, like sometimes it's just too much. It's too much to handle. And then guess what? I suffer.
Absolutely.
So something has to give. I'm not a bad mother if I don't go to this school meeting.
Right.
I'm not a bad mother if I order pizza. Or let's keep it real, y'all eat cereal for dinner.
Listen, come on. You better get up in and make you some toast. I'm sorry. My mother used to do that one.
I'm not a bad wife if I say, babe, let's make a date night next week because I'm too tired to go out.
Absolutely. And if you're not going to enjoy it, and that's another thing too, everyone listening, if you're not going to enjoy it, why spread yourself so thin? Because by the time you get there, you have an attitude, a headache, you're hungry, you're hangry. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's like sometimes it's worth it for everybody if you just say no.
You got to rest. I remember I recently went to an event and I was there, I was at the event for maybe about 20 minutes and I immediately got uncomfortable. The energy in the room changed. I picked up my stuff and I headed on out.
Good. You have to.
That was the biggest, and I called my husband on the phone. I said, you know what? I wasn't feeling it and I left. And of course, in my mind, I talked myself out of leaving. I'm like, oh, they're going to be mad. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. My inner peace is too important to me. Yeah. I'm trying to become a better Patrice. I'm trying to balance my life and my emotions. So when that energy shifted, I had to be out.
Good for you. Good for you to not only recognize it, but to act on it. Because I think oftentimes we recognize it and we sit and battle through it. I said I was going, I'm here, I'm going to stay. There's no reason why you have to stay anywhere if you feel uncomfortable. And I think that's another topic, but it all stems from sometimes your spirit feels the toxic in the room. Sometimes it's just, it can be a person or it could just be a moment where that was strange. Tune in. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, really tuning in and trusting my gut on things. Because sometimes, again, we stay too long in a moment, in a place, in a relationship that doesn't serve us because we said we'd stay. Nah, no means no, and I gotta go. You know what? I have a conflict, or I have to go. Do what you got to do. And sometimes slipping out the bag is fine. They saw you. Hey.
I was there.
Right, exactly.
And I would have, and listen, and let me tell you about the emotional roller coaster I went to as I was picking up my bag to leave out the door. Okay? Do I tell them the reason why I'm going? Do I be honest with them? Right. Do I not tell them? Do I go to the bathroom and slip out the door, like you said, slip out the back door? Do I not leave and sit in this? Yeah. But I knew that my peace was being affected. And I have made a pinky promise to myself that I would not allow anything or anybody to disturb my peace.
Absolutely.
That is part of my growth as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of who I want to be.
Yes.
Right? And it's part of me knowing who I am and what triggers me and what makes me uncomfortable, and recognizing that and knowing that I gotta go.
Yeah. It's important, again, to be so in tune with yourself to know what those triggers are. Because sometimes I think we push through thinking that we're overreacting. I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit we discount our gut feelings. We discount the fact that we know ourselves best. And when you are in tune with yourself enough to walk away from an experience, whatever the case may be, pat yourself on the back, because that was huge, Patrice. And I think we don't do it enough. I don't think people do it enough.
I'm telling you, I called my husband on the phone. I said, you know what? I was uncomfortable. I left. He was like, you did?
Because he's used to you closing down and helping out and doing the whole thing.
Nonsense. It was time for me to go.
Good for you. Good for you.
Because I was just like, I cannot take it. I can't deal. I'm out of place. This ain't for me. This ain't the right place.
Right.
And I need to make sure that I stay in this peaceful place.
Absolutely.
Well, Ayana, let's get to our affirmation for this week.
Okay.
It's a simple one. You want to repeat it?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. I am prosperous, wealthy, and living my best life.
Ooh, I love that.
I love it too.
I am prosperous, wealthy, and living my best life.
Ugh.
That's all I want.
Please and thank you.
That's all I want. Especially that living my best life. Little Duval don't know what he did when he made that song.
That's my theme song currently.
At first I was like, he's a singer or a rapper? Listen, them words is on point, honey.
On point. Timeless.
Right? Let's all just live our best life. Search for that inner peace that you desire and that you want. I know it's possible that we can have inner peace. Inner peace is the new best life.
It is.
It really is. Well, listeners, Ayana, I thank you so much for girl chatting with me.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
And remember, listeners, you are strong, you are fearless, and most of all, you are beautiful. Catch you next time.